So this week we've just published a paper in Nature Geoscience, and in that paper we have found that there is oxygen being produced in complete darkness at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean.
Hey everybody, welcome to Studio 64. My name's David. I've been searching the interzones for some more science, space and tech news to share with you. Came across this at Science Alert and I thought this would be interesting to share. Mysterious dark oxygen discovered at bottom of ocean stuns scientists. This should be really fascinating. You know, because I was always under the impression it was photosynthesis, basically, with, you know, the less light, therefore less oxygen. But apparently not. Interesting. Chugging quietly away in the dark depths of Earth's ocean floors, a spontaneous chemical reaction is unobtrusively creating oxygen, all without the involvement of life. Now, this unexpected discovery upends the long-standing consensus that it takes photosynthesizing organisms to produce the oxygen we need to breathe. Interesting. Now, as usual, I'll leave the link to the main article below the video so you can pop in, check out the embedded links, go for a bit of a deeper dive if you want. Makes for an interesting read, believe me. Yeah, I thought it was photosynthesis. Yeah, it's fascinating. Biochemist Andrew Sweetman from the Scottish Association for Marine Science, or SAMS, and colleagues made the surprising find while measuring seafloor oxygen levels to assess the impacts of deep-sea mining. Now, the discovery of oxygen production by a non-photosynthetic process requires us to rethink how the evolution of complex life on the planet might have originated, says SAMS marine scientist Nicholas Owens, who wasn't involved in the research. In my opinion, this is one of the most exciting findings in ocean science in recent times. Now, if there are any marine biologists out there, anybody who knows a lot more about it than I ever will, that's for sure, please feel free to comment, because this is going to be absolutely awesome. Now, in the midst of the Pacific Ocean, black rounded rocks pepper the floor. And here at depths of more than 4,000 meters or 13,000 feet, oxygen levels slowly but surely keep increasing, the scientists' measurements showed. And there's the ocean floor. Looks like a little, is that a crab of some description? Again, not a marine biologist, but a very cheeky little chappy there. Fascinating. Yeah, little crab. Yeah. When we first got the data, we thought the sensors were faulty, because every study ever done in the deep sea has only seen oxygen being consumed rather than produced. We would come home, recalibrate the sensors, but over the course of 10 years, these strange oxygen readings kept showing up. Now, I've got a little video here for you. It goes for about 5 minutes, but definitely worth watching. It's this is actually from the team that did this, and it's absolutely incredible. Again, link in the description to the channel below the video. Definitely worth a follow. Absolutely incredible. And we'll check it out. And as usual, we'll carry on the conversation when we come out the other side.
So this week we've just published a paper in Nature Geoscience, and in that paper we have found that there is oxygen being produced in complete darkness at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. Now, this is really, really exciting, because up to now we've thought of the deep ocean as being an oxygen sink, and all of the oxygen that's available in the deep ocean comes about from photosynthesis in the upper ocean and on land. And then that oxygen diffuses into this ocean and sinks down into the deep ocean, where it provides an oxygenated habitat. What we're showing now is that the deep sea is able to produce its own oxygen. So the origin of this story started about 11 years ago. We went out to the Pacific Ocean with an instrument to measure the consumption of oxygen at the seafloor. Now, normally what happens is, as animals and microbes move around in the sediments consuming organic material, they consume oxygen. So if you enclose a known area of seafloor, you can see the oxygen slowly go down over time. And what we've found is that the oxygen is actually increasing over time.
The fact that we've got another source of oxygen on the planet, other than photosynthesis, has consequences and implications that are utterly profound.
I thought the sensors that we were using were faulty, so I'd send them back to the manufacturer for recalibration and testing, and they'd send them back to me and tell me that everything was working. So I'd then go out to sea again with them, and I'd see the same thing, oxygen increasing in these mesocosms over time. Over about 8 or 9 years, I kept getting these faulty readings in my sensors. So this next time that I went out in 2021, I decided to take another method to measure oxygen concentration. And when the instrument came up from the seafloor and we downloaded the data from the sensors, again, the oxygen was increasing at the seafloor, which up to then I thought was impossible. So suddenly I realized that for the last 8 or 9 years I'd been ignoring this oxygen production mechanism. Subsequently, in the last 2 to 3 years, we've been trying to explore the mechanism for this oxygen production.
The fact that we've got this source of oxygen produced by these manganese nodules. This is one from the bottom of the Pacific Ocean where Andrew Sweetman's been working, is really exciting and staggering.
We started focusing in on the electrochemistry of the nodules. We had a number of nodules with us that we put in to seawater, and then we started probing the surface of these nodules with these 2 platinum electrodes to look at whether there were voltages that we could detect on the surface of these nodules. And amazingly, what we found is as we were probing the surface, the voltages were jumping up and down in places, rising to almost a volt. So we suddenly realized that it was quite possible that what was happening was the same thing that happens when you drop a battery into seawater. It starts fizzing because the electric current that's generated was splitting water into oxygen and hydrogen. So this discovery of oxygen production at the seafloor in areas where you have these polymetallic nodules is really important, because to power the green economy, we need to extract metals from the ground or potentially the deep ocean. So what we have discovered means that we're going to have to carefully think about, if deep ocean mining goes ahead, where that mining should take place, because this oxygen is likely being used in whatever quantity that it's produced by the ecosystem to basically breathe. The other implications of this research is it potentially sheds light on where life began on the planet. This discovery has shown that, well, maybe there was another source of oxygen a long time ago, and aerobic life, or life that breathes oxygen, could have persisted before the rise of photosynthesis. And if it's happening on our planet, could it be happening on other planets too?
Well, that was absolutely fascinating, wasn't it? Absolutely amazing. Again, love all science, just absolutely amazing. And photosynthesizing organisms. But now we know that there's another process going on. Wonder what that could mean for future, say, undersea, undersea expeditions and things like that. Again, incredible. I wonder if we could tap into this oxygen supply. Amazing stuff. We decided to take a backup method that worked differently to the optode sensors we were using, and when both methods came back with the same result, we knew we were onto something groundbreaking and unthought of. Now, to investigate the mystery, the researchers collected some of the nodule rocks to see if they were the source of this dark oxygen production in the lab. Now, scatterings of these nodules carpet vast areas of the ocean's bottom. It sounds like a personal problem you don't want to discuss, really, does it? Fascinating and very childish, David. Stop it immediately. But mildly entertaining. They're natural deposits of rare earth metals like cobalt, manganese, and nickel, all jumbled up in a polymetallic mix. Now, we value these exact metals for their use in batteries, and it turns out that's exactly how rocks may be spontaneously acting on the ocean floor. Wouldn't that be interesting? Checking out the impact of mining, and if we could be mining these rare earth metals, and I wonder if we could extract the oxygen from them. Again, not a metallurgist, but interesting thought, isn't it? A byproduct of these, we could actually get the oxygen to, if we had an undersea mining operation, with little domes like they have in the science fiction films. Interesting. The researchers found single polymetallic nodules produce voltages of up to 0.95 of a volt. So when clustered together like batteries in a series, they can easily reach the 1.5 volt required to split oxygen from water in an electrolysis reaction. Amazing. It appears that we've discovered a natural geobattery, says Northwestern University chemist Franz Geiger. These geobatteries are the basis for a possible explanation of the ocean's dark oxygen production. And here we have some polymetallic nodules from the ocean floor. Wow. Fascinating. Absolutely amazing stuff. Now, while there's still much to investigate, such as the scale of oxygen production by the polymetallic nodules, this discovery offers a possible explanation for the mysterious stubborn persistence of ocean dead zones decades after deep mining has ceased. So after the mining has gone through, they've dug all this stuff up with these rare earth metals, and the oxygen level drops in the water. Beginning to understand these things now. This is why I read things out loud and share these stories with people so I can get an understanding of it. It's incredible. Love it. Just love learning. Love science. In 2016 and 2017, marine biologists visited sites that were mined in the 1980s and found not even bacteria had recovered in mined areas. In unmined regions, however, marine life flourished, explains Geiger. Okay. Yeah. No, that's, as I said, that's interesting. As I said, I'm a complete, what do you call it, Luddite, or not Luddite, that's not the correct word, Philistine or ignoramus when it comes to science. I just love reading and learning about it. And that is really fascinating, that, isn't it? Yeah. Well, is there any way of avoiding that with your mining? Or is it too disruptive? Let me know what you think in the comments. Now, why such dead zones persist for decades is still unknown. Well, I'm assuming because they dug up the rare earth metals. Perhaps that could be a possible thing. And these rocks were perhaps, generating the oxygen. However, this puts a major asterisk into strategies for seafloor mining, as ocean floor faunal diversity in nodule-rich areas is higher than the most diverse tropical rainforests. As well as these massive implications for deep-sea mining, dark oxygen also sparks a cascade of new questions around the origins of oxygen-breathing life on Earth. I wonder if this could be the case in some of the oceans of the moons of the solar system. Going exomarine biology at this stage. Wouldn't that be fascinating? Exomarine biology. Incredible. It's possible. We've discovered some things in the last few years about moon and the moon and Mars and everything else that, and now we're going to these, check out these moons of the solar system. Would not surprise me if there was some things up there that we learned that we didn't know even a couple of years ago. This is awesome. Ancient microbial cyanobacteria have long been credited for first supplying the oxygen required for the evolution of complex life billions of years ago as a waste product of photosynthesis, turning sunlight into their energy source. We now know that there is oxygen produced in the deep sea where there is no light, says Sweetman. I think we therefore need to revisit questions: where could aerobic life have begun? And the research was published in Nature Geoscience. Yeah. Yep, I'm seriously thinking that we could find this sort of stuff on moons of our solar system, and perhaps in the future, planets outside our solar system. All right, well, my name is David. Thanks for joining me for another Studio 64 Science, Space and Tech News update. I shall see you in the next one. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. If you're up for it, drop a comment down below the video. I'd love to hear what you think. All right, take care. And as I always say, if you can't be good at it. And as I also always say...
Did IQs just drop sharply while I was away?